everyone, welcome to my kitchen today. We are going to be making some freezer meals. I'm going to make my macaroni and cheese, a lasagna, and a corn chowder. I'm also going to make some chocolate chip cookies, and some we're going to have for today, and then I'm going to put the rest of the cookie balls into the freezer to have for another time. I'll be sure to put in the description the links to my recipes, or give you my recipe, whichever one I'm doing. So I hope you enjoy this video, and thanks for coming along with me. Right here, we're starting with our lasagna sauce. I don't add just pasta sauce. I first start up with adding some onions and garlic to the pan, getting those all cooked up. I do add the pasta sauce to the ground beef, but then I also add in some tomato paste and some Italian seasoning to kind of thicken it up a little bit as well. And then we're also starting the macaroni and cheese as well, with some butter and some flour and some salt and pepper to make a roux. This is multitasking at its finest. There's going to be multiple different things going on right now. So we're going to add in 3 cups of milk to that, and we're going to start getting that boiling. And it's not going to boil too much. You do have to stir every once in a while to make sure it's not going to get stuck at the bottom of the pan. So while that's going, you can see that behind me. I'm going to get the filling for the lasagna. We're back to lasagna, going with some cottage cheese and some mozzarella cheese, some Parmesan cheese, and also an egg to combine that all together while all of that is cooking and simmering in the background.
As you can tell, I don't measure all too precisely, but there are precise measurements on the recipes that I'm linking below.
So I added 2 blocks of 8 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese. If you add more, you could add less. Shredded is obviously a lot easier, but I chop it up in blocks for the less. You could mix all kinds of cheeses with this, but I think that the sharp cheese is what makes this macaroni and cheese so delicious. So everything organized and ready to start assembling. I've got mac and cheese stuff here, and then I've got the lasagna stuff here. So let's get these things assembled, some foil over the top, and I'm gonna write the directions at the top. to layer this lasagna. I'm starting with the pasta sauce, and then I'm putting the noodles, and then I'm putting the cheese mixture over the top. So I have a suggestion for you. If you have this size of a pan, a 9 by 13, but the shorter sides, just do 2 layers. I got a little overzealous this time for some reason and did 3 layers. 3 layers would be totally possible and good if I had some taller sides, but I didn't. So it's probably going to seep over the top a little bit when it cooks, which is fine. It's still going to be ooey and gooey and delicious. And so after I put that last layer of cheese mixture at the top, I also layer on the top some more mozzarella cheese for some nice cheesy flavor. I'm a clean as you go kind of girl, so I like to get at least the stove top and the countertops clean. Just makes everything a little more bearable when it all comes and it's just dishes to do at the end after a long baking session or a long cooking session. So the general consensus to cook a dish after freezing it is to double the cooking time while keeping the temperature the same. Comment below if you do something different that works for you, but generally speaking, that's what has worked for me. So now we're starting to work on a corn chowder. I've got 3 cans of creamed corn. We've got some water in there. We've got a couple cups of half and half, some diced potatoes, some onions. It is really a great and easy meal. It's so delicious too. The one thing I've found about this recipe that I've made several times is it needs a lot of salt, even more salt than what the recipe says. So just add a few more dashes to it, either while you're cooking or at the end, give it a little taste and add a little bit more salt that you may need. So the last thing I'm going to do today is make some chocolate chip cookies. Anyone who tastes these cookies say they are the best chocolate chip cookies they've ever had. There's nothing too special about them. They're a Betty Crocker recipe that I've used for years. So I'm trying to think if there's anything I can do to make them extra good. I do add a little extra vanilla. I also make sure that they're a little bit larger than the recipe says. I use the longest cooking time suggested, but they're a little bigger, so they come out really soft and gooey, and I personally like a soft and gooey cookie. These meals I'm making today, I've actually prepared for some friends. They're in a busy season of life and they were just on my mind and my heart. And so I made them some meals to help lighten their load a little bit. And this really makes me think about hospitality. You know, we're called to be hospitable as Christians. Jesus welcomed us into his family with open arms, so we should do the same for others. There's also a lot of community in the New Testament where the church got together and they ate together and they fellowshiped together. Social media has skewed our view of what hospitality looks like into hosting. Inviting people over with a clean home that you worked on all day, well behaved children that you probably had to bribe to be well behaved when the company was there, and preparing a really great meal, but maybe something that you don't always cook all the time that's better than what you give your family. But hospitality is supposed to be a lifestyle. I certainly need to get better at inviting people over, having game nights, things like that. But doing something like this is a way to be hospitable too. You're bringing your home to someone else, inviting them to something that you've prepared for them. So if you're in a busy season of life where inviting people over on a regular basis is difficult, especially if you have little kids, inviting them over for dinner and showing that time, maybe this is something that you could work towards.